Hey there, and welcome to this week's tutorial. This one is simple and quick to create, but makes a really sweet, meaningful piece that would be perfect for example, Father's Day. You could also, of course, repurpose this for Mother's Day, presents for grandparents, whatever you want. But since we've got Father's Day coming up, it might be on a lot of your minds. So let's start off with a square. You can do a different shape if you'd like to. I think a circle would be great, or a star even. So the banner that we made with the Long Live Sisterhood sign, whatever you want. But start with some basic shape as your back. If you don't have a shape right here and you have a line segment or something else, just click and hold until all your shapes pop up. I'm using the rectangle tool, and I'm going to do a 6-inch rectangle. It is important that your shape be large enough to accommodate a handprint, the handprint of whatever kid, usually it's a kid, it could be a paw print for a puppy or something, but you want to make sure that your shape is big enough to accommodate that. So I have a pretty little kid, so I think 6 inches is going to work just fine for us, and I don't really want a work of art that is going to cover my whole living room, so we're going to do 6 inches here, but again, make sure that you're paying attention to the size of the handprint that needs to fit here. All right, so I'm going to just swap that fill and stroke. I want a none fill and I want a black stroke, and then use your selection tool and just kind of move it up to wherever it is you want to be working. I'm zooming in. I usually like to make sure that I can see everything really nicely. We are also going to, or I am also going to add some holes in the form of tiny 0.2 inch by 0.2 inch circles. Okay, that will allow me to just use macrame rope to hang this rather than having to worry about attaching command strips or a sawtooth or something like that. So I usually try to just make my life as easy as possible by adding these little holes for hanging rope. So you can just kind of eyeball how far away you want these, but it's important not to eyeball the alignment. So select one and then the other. I actually apparently for once did a good job eyeballing that, but if you did not, use this align panel and click vertical align center, or if you don't have that, object align vertical align center, and then you can object group those. Why are we bothering to group them? Well, you want to be able to align these, horizontal align center them within the square so that they're not off center. So use this horizontal align center, and that was pretty close, but not that, not super close. So that just makes sure that everything is centered. We don't want to be relying on eyeballing. Now, you have all kinds of options for what to put at the bottom. You could put Father's Day 2022. You could put, my daughter is Freya, so I'm going to do Freya, and then the year. If you want to make a larger one, I've seen people do layered handprint ones that are really beautiful. So if you want to put like the Smith family, and then whoever has the biggest hand in your family does theirs first, lets it dry, and then you kind of go in order from largest to smallest hand, kind of layering your handprints. Of course, in that case, you'll want it to be larger than 6 inches because most of our hands as adults are bigger than that, but you could put the Smith family instead. This one is just going to be a simple, sweet piece for my home, so I'm just going to do my daughter's name, which is Freya. I'm going to pick a font. What's it called? Nope, Wild Things. Here we go. The Wild Things Bold. And you'll notice that it is nice. It's like a simple font. It fits well into my home decor. It might fit well into yours too, but just pick a font that you really like. And I'm putting it up a little just because I'm going to add the year underneath. We don't really have, for whatever reason, we don't have that much handprint art from Freya. In fact, I don't think we have any. She doesn't go to daycare or anything, and I think that's usually where people make them. So I want to just kind of have a record not only of her handprint, but also, how old she was. So you could do 3 years old across the bottom, or, be creative, play around with the wording, customize it to what you want. I will say that for me, I think it's more meaningful to have Freya 2022 than Happy Mother's Day. I don't particularly need to remember the occasion that I was given it. I just want to remember how big she was and who it is if you've got multiple kids. So, as I created those, I don't think I walked through all the steps, I'm sorry. So use your type tool, type it out, select, right click, and create outlines. If you're using a script font, don't forget the step at the end where you need to then use the Pathfinder to unite. Otherwise, you'll have these little overlapping letter bits that will ruin your life when you go to engrave. And those of you who have ever forgotten to weld your letters, you know what I mean. So if you have overlapping engraves on the Glowforge, so let's say that I decided to move that up and I didn't unite it, the places where it overlapped would actually just kind of cancel each other out. So it's really annoying to have to figure out what to do in that point. Okay, so do that for your name and your year or whatever it is that you're creating. And I'm going to select both of these and use the align panel to just horizontally align center those. Okay, then I'm going to object group, because now that this is all ready, I'm going to go ahead and select everything. And, oh, not that. I don't know if I was going to click to unite. Don't do that. Horizontal align center it all. Okay, so now I mentioned this is a simple one. It really comes together quickly, and it's cute. Like, you put it in your house. It's not something where, I think sometimes with things like teacher gifts, or especially, it's just a bunch of apple decor and there are only so many apples you want. But like something like this is sweet and simple, and you can use whatever paint color you want to kind of make sure that it matches your home. And I think it's just really important when you're making things like this to consider, is this something you really want to hang? So, all right. So that's it. It's ready. You can go ahead, and I always save as an Illustrator file first. So I'm going to go Freya Handprint and save it as an Illustrator, and then file, save as. We are making sure that you're saving as and not exporting. Save as, SVG, hit save. And then, if you're on a PC, this will look a little different, but it's the same type of deal. You hit save and then other options pop up. I like SVG 1.0 and make sure responsiveness is off so that it shows up in the Glowforge in the same size as it is right here. It's no good to make something 6 inches by 6 inches, and then when you put it into the Glowforge, it resizes. Not cool. So here we are. You can upload this just as it is. I'm going to engrave the Freya 2022. So we have our filled letters. If you decide that you want to do cutout letters instead, you can go back to the last week's Long Live Sisterhood tutorial, and that'll show you how to do those cutout letters with some placement guidelines. If you make one of these, please tag me on Instagram at The Fable Tree. I would love to share your work. And if this is maybe one of your first few pieces you've ever made, consider enrolling in FileMakers Academy. This is my comprehensive 5-week file design course where we start with even simpler designs than this. We start by setting up your workspace and getting inspiration, all that kind of stuff. But our first project is simpler than this one, and we work through all the way through a really complex Book Nook graduation project at the very end. So you really build your skills on a weekly basis by designing real projects that you can actually start selling right away. And so I'll put the link in the enrollment link in the description. And if you have any questions, let me know.